Ini full of
Welcome
surprises.
to
Hai. Suddenly one of my friend call me, esok aku nak kahwin ni. I don't know. Kenapa tak beritahu? Tak beritahu sebab SOP. Tak plan pun nak ajak kawan-kawan. Something like that lah. So macam full of surprises juga lah ini. Sekejap lagi dia pakai lah pun nak call dia. Ask for explanation. Okay. He's a teacher as well in SMK Cabai Pak lah. Cabai Pak Tumpat kan. Alright, an English teacher. Okay. Alright. Start recording. Okay. Assalamualaikum again. And a very good afternoon. Good evening. Alright. For those who doesn't have the chance to join tonight, don't worry. This lecture will be recorded and posted on our e-campus. Alright. So for today, I'll be doing something on emotions. Okay. Alright. Sharing my screen. Alright, so the topic that we'll be covering today is about emotion. Okay, basically it's about emotion, alright, and communication, and in particular, it involves interpersonal communication. So we know that when we have something like interpersonal communication, a lot of intimacy. I mean, not in terms of sexual intimacy, but more of intimacy between relationship. For example, you being close to your friends, because not every single of our friends are very close to us. So there are some particularly good friends, which will be very intimate. We like to share. We like to share our problems, our issues. We like to share our joy with them, and all of this involve emotion in communication. Okay, so emotion can be described as having emotional intelligence. Of course, by having emotion or feelings, we're gonna have example of feelings like happiness, or sadness, or maybe shame in a way, or pride, or embarrassment, or some negative emotion like envy, right, anger, things like that. All right. So when we have emotional intelligence, we will have the ability to recognize feelings, okay, to judge which feelings are appropriate in which situation, and to communicate those feelings effectively. So by being emotionally intelligent, all right, we know that certain feelings will be appropriate to certain situation, and certain feelings can be expressed in certain situation. Okay. Nowadays we can see that people like to express their emotion online. Okay. Facebook lah, Instagram lah, TikTok lah, Twitter lah, and everything, to the extent that it is beyond control. Sampai sekarang ni orang suka being very expressive online. Gaduh dengan husband ke dengan wife sikit, cerita online. Buka wallet suami, tiada duit, saya letakkan 500 tunjuk. I mean, it's a good thing to do, but when we are too expressive, actually, right, some people, they will tend to be happy to us because they are saying that, all right, this is a very random act of kindness, for example. But then some people, right, certain emotions also arise. For example, envy, or feeling angry to themselves, for example, because they cannot do the same as what you are doing and you are posting online, right? So we need to know which feelings to feel and how appropriate is it to express our feeling or emotion, right? Not just online, in also in physical interaction as well. Okay, and we know that emotion is very crucial in career advancement. Okay, sometimes you're gonna have psychological tests. Bila kita nak masuk kerja, for example, there are certain tests yang akan tanya kita soalan-soalan. For example, if you saw a man, an old man trying to cross the road, what will you do? If you got scolded by your manager or boss, how will you feel? For example, contoh dulu saya pernah jawab soalan Maxi yang education punya, so it involve a lot of you yourself being emotionally intelligent. So what kind of emotion and what kind of effect or what kind of outcome that it will generate. Okay, so the answers will be based on how you will act, and your action will be based on how your emotion wanted you to act with. Okay. So when we understand our emotion, we know that mostly it will be based on our experience and also interpretation of internal sensation, because they are shaped by physiology, perception, language, and social experiences. So we know that emotion are, um, generated internally. All right, it is felt internally. All right, and it will be interpreted, oh sorry, interpreted physically or interpreted excessively. All right, so we can see by the way that we are putting out our perceptions, by the language that we are using, and also by the social experiences that we are having. All right, so there are a few understanding of views on physiological influence of emotion. So we can see that we have organismic view of emotion by James Lang's view, 1922, where James Lang provide an overview of how we experience emotion when external stimuli cause physiological changes in us. So we have certain kind of stimuli, it will cause our body to react. All right. For example, the stimulus over here is when you receive a gift, right? So the physiological response will be a big smile, and the emotion that you are having will be happiness or joy. This is a very straightforward example um, of how emotion are being expressed, right? And then we also have perceptual influence on emotion. All right. So when we have perceptual influence on emotion, usually it will involve the appraisal theory, whereby subjective perception shape what external phenomena means to us. Whatever our perception will shape, or whatever emotion that we will feel, is basically or solely based on the external phenomena happening around us. Okay, apa saja yang terjadi di keliling kita, fenomena yang terjadi di keliling kita, alright, this will be the stimuli, alright, yang akan membentuk kita punya perception, cara kita menilai perception dan cara kita memberi ekspresi ataupun mengekspresikan emotion kita tu. So our response and emotion is interpreted by the perception that we have of certain events in our life. Okay. For example, alright, if you earn a low score on the test, you might interpret it as evidence that you are not smart. Okay. So this interpretation could lead you to feel shame or disappointment or other unpleasant emotion. Kita buat exam, dapat markah teruk. So, of course, we're gonna feel disappointed, embarrassment, malu, markah sikit, and then many sorts of unpleasant emotion as well, low self-esteem and those things. Right. Conversely, on the other hand, you might also view the low score as a result of a tricky or overly rigorous exam. So this interpretation might lead you to feel anger at the teacher or hatred at the situation. Sometimes, bila kita dapat markah sikit, for example, kita akan rasa, soalan ni merapu lah, susah lah, mana ada ajar ni. Alright, leading you to feel angry and also to feel unpleasant towards not just your teacher but also the situation at that moment. So these two examples shows how we interpret our emotion based on the experience and also the social events that are happening around us. Alright, so whatever happened, okay, the outcome will be different, the interpretation will also be different. Okay. And we do know that anger is very different from shame. Alright, rasa marah tu adalah sangat berlainan dengan rasa malu. Alright. And then we have the cognitive leveling view of emotion. Alright, whereby our levels for our physiological responses influence how we interpret those responses. Alright, meaning that the event occurred has caused a response. Thus, we assign label for the response, and it also shape our emotion. Okay, one example that we can see in this kind of cognitive leveling view of information, of emotion, sorry. So cognitive, you know, the word cognitive itself carry the meaning of the process of learning. All right, so when we want to assign or we want to label, all right, our emotion to certain situation, all right, not only the situation will happen and it will cause us to have certain point of emotion and perception, but we can also change the perception and also emotion at that time, right, to another form of perception and also emotion. Okay, for example, all right, there's an example shown in a situation whereby a little girl came back home, all right, and maybe saw a pet dog for his first time. So the dog came, all right, so anjing tu datang, all right, datang kat dia, jilat-jilat and everything. So the girl was very intimidated, was very afraid. Okay, gadis ni, budak perempuan ni, dia sangat takut, takut dan terkejut, alright, a beast like that, alright, a big dog like that coming to her, alright, jilat dia, nak sayang dia and everything, alright. But then at that point of time, the girl's interpretation and emotion was negative towards that situation. Dia rasa takut, dia rasa ini satu ancaman, dia rasa anjing ni nak gigit dia ke, nak makan dia ke, something like that. But when we assign cognitive leveling view of emotion, the parents, for example, or the adult at that time will say that, oh, okay, this dog over here is not trying to hurt you. It's a pet dog, alright. He or she, it was just trying to show affection. Dia nak tunjuk kasih sayang. This is how dog shows their affection, by licking you, by kissing you, by coming all over you. Anjing ni datang serang, bukan serang, datang dekat kita, nak jilat kita, try to kiss kita, try nak duduk atas kita. This is a sign of love and affection. How animal or how pet dogs show love and affection. So when we assign that kind of meaning and also perception, kids will learn. Alright, kids will learn. That is what we call cognitive labeling view of emotion. Kids will learn that this particular thing is actually, alright, is actually in reverse, alright, to the emotion of hatred, of scare, and also in reverse to the perception of a bad perception of being attacked, for example, a perception of being intimidated or afraid of the dog, to the perception of this is just a way of showing love. Alright, ni cara nak tunjukkan kasih sayang. So the kids or the children or the girl will learn, alright, from the way we label that kind of situation. Okay. Same goes to other situations. Sometimes, let's say we can apply this don't judge a book by its cover kind of phrase, alright? So bila kita jumpa seseorang tu, oh gereknya dia ni, our emotion akan turn negative, our perception will turn negative. But then by the time we talk to him, alright, we are learning that his character is not like that. Dia bukan orang yang kerek ke, tak bercakap ke. He's actually a very responsible, friendly, talkative kind of person. So we assign cognitive leveling to that kind of situation. Kita belajar bahawa that kind of emotion and perception can be changed into, alright, another form of emotion and also perception. Alright, social influences on information again, interactive view of emotion whereby we assign social rules and understanding that will shape what people feel and how they do or don't express their feelings. So under social influence of emotion, we have two forms. Okay, number one is the framing rule, right? The emotional meaning of information, the emotional meaning of situation. So from the word itself, we know that we are assigning emotional meaning to certain kind of information. Right? For instance, okay, for example, Irish Americans, they hold wake when a person die. Alright. So Irish American ni dia adakan satu ceremony called the wake. Alright. When a person dies. So wake is a festive occasion during which people tell stories about the departed person and celebrate his or her life. So wake ni when they cherish the person that has already departed or has already left them. Alright. So cerita good things about that person, share good memories about the person. Alright. But then the culture at that time, alright, the framing rule at that time for their culture, alright, is that it is okay for them to celebrate, not celebrate the death of that person, but celebrate the life of that person, although the person has already departed, right? But then in most of the culture, when it comes to death, kita akan sentiasa have let's say pakai pun hitam, and then we mourn the situation, kita berkabung, kita tak ada happy-happy, kita tak ada kalau India culture tak adalah minum-minum and everything. But then for Irish American, they gonna have a not a party actually, more of an event to remember that kind of person, whereby they only remember good things, benda-benda yang happy-happy saja. Alright. And then we also have the feeling rules. Alright. So feeling rules tell us what we should feel or expect to feel in particular situation based upon the value of culture and social groups. So depending on the culture and also social group that we are belonging to, right, the feeling rule is already set to us. This is how we should feel and this is how we should express our feeling. Alright. Right. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, ada seorang nak masuk, Cik Azwan.
Oh,
Tak
Cik
sure ke?
Azwan. Dah kot sekejap 5, 1, 2, 3. Oh, Cik Azwan tak masuk lagi. Sorry Carried away dah saya. Sekejap slow pula WhatsApp. Connecting. Oh, okay. Alright. Actually assign auto admit to this Google Meet session actually, but then sometimes when the session is running, dia jadi tak auto admit, dia kena manual juga. I'm not sure why. Okay, Cik Azwan sorry with us. Tinggal Cik Jamal je lah, rasanya dia on the road I think. Alright, most welcome Cik Azwan. Alright. Alright, okay. Cik Jamal maybe on the road lah. Alright, don't worry lah. Alright, okay. So maybe we can just continue. Okay, where were we just now? Okay, filling rules. Alright. So in filling rules, we have two division of rules, which are deep acting and also surface acting. Alright. So filling rules thing is actually we have some culture or some social norm, they view feeling differently depending on the culture and also the norms that you are belonging to. So if you are from a Malay culture, there are certain types of way of expressing feelings. Chinese, the Chinese, the Indians, or Siamese, or so. For example, we have some culture that view anger as healthy. Contoh the Western culture lah. It is okay for you to express your disagreement, disappointment. Kita kena open, kita kena sentiasa bercakap benar, kita kena jangan tapis-tapis. If you are unsatisfied, please express our unsatisfaction, for example. But then di Semai, orang asli tribe, okay, for example, this particular group of people, culture belonging from the social norm, Semai good orang asli tribe, they view anger or being angry as bringing bad luck. Okay, that's why if I'm not mistaken, in the Semai orang asli tribe, they don't have any murder cases, right? Everyone live in a very harmonious situation. All right, less crime happen, but no murder cases has ever happened because being angry, because we know that kadang-kadang anger triggered us, all right, to do bad things, for example. Okay, so if the culture has already framed it, right, the feeling rules at that time is you cannot be angry, all right. So the rest of those people who are belonging to the same culture will follow, all right. And some example of deep acting and surface acting, okay. Deep acting involve learning what they should and should not feel. We already set these particular rules, all right. You should feel like this, you shouldn't feel like this. For example, okay, in our culture, I think in every Eastern culture, children are taught to feel thankful when given a gift, even if they don't like it. Alright, dapat je hadiah walaupun tak suka lah, contoh kan. Contoh budak lelaki ni, badan sedap-sedap sikit, nampak macam lelaki sejati, kita bagi Barbie doll. Apa dia bagi Barbie doll ni? But then parents have already taught us whatever it is, how we feel about it, just say thank you and be nice. Right? And we also have surface acting, right? It involves controlling the outward expression of emotion rather than controlling feelings. Okay. For example, still children are taught to say thank you, right? Because in our culture, expressing gratitude is emphasized more than feeling grateful. Alright. Maknanya kita ni kita kan selalu macam kita bagi benda je ke anak-anak kita. Okay, say thank you to uncle, say thank you to auntie. Nak cakap apa? Terima kasih. Okay, bye-bye auntie. So we all already embedded, alright, that kind of rules, alright, so that they will feel they have to show their appreciation. Kena tunjukkan rasa penghargaan ni dengan smile, saying thank you. Alright, so whatever it is happen, okay, the surface is much more important than whatever it is happening inside. Kadang-kadang anak kita tak nak follow kan, tak nak ikut itu cakap apa, tengah merajuk ke apa, tapi bila dia cakap say thank you to auntie, say thank you to uncle, dia thank you auntie, thank you uncle, walaupun dengan nada yang sedih ataupun nada yang budak-budak beragam lah katakan, they will always say it because we have already embedded this particular feeling rules, alright, to themselves, okay. And we also have emotion work, right? The effort to generate what we think are appropriate feeling in particular situation. Alright, emotion work ni sometimes happen apabila something happen, kita ada satu perasaan tapi sebenarnya kita sepatutnya rasa macam ni. Okay, ataupun kita in another term we call it the pitch, what we feel and what we think we should feel. Okay, for example, alright, we feel happy over a person that have miserable life because we hate that person. Kita ada seorang, contohlah anak jiran kita ni, malam-malam duk press motor, repair exhaust and everything. One day dia accident. Okay, one day dia accident. Kita rasa jahat bukan seronok lah, kita rasa padan muka, buat lagi, bising lagi kan. Tapi actually we should feel empathy. Kita patutlah rasa kesayangan ke, patut rasa sedih ke for the parents, for example. But then the pinch happen, Alright, what we feel and what we think we should. Kita rasa seronok, tapi sebenarnya dalam minda kita ni, whatever it is, we think that we should feel sorry to the parents. Alright, but rather kita ada conflicting situation di mana dalam diri kita happy benda tu jadi, tapi actually it's not good. Whatever it is, we should feel something which is appropriate to that situation. Kalau benda tu sedih, kita pun kenalah rasa sedih. Contoh kawan kita maju berniaga ke apa something kan, something ada dalam hati kita jealous yang amat, tapi sebenarnya kita patut rasa happy. So that is the piece that is happening in your emotion work. Okay. Alright, so there are some reasons we may not express emotion. So ada beberapa sebab kenapa kita suppress ataupun kita tak meluahkan sangat emotion kita ni. Alright, number one will be of course cultural and social expectation yang paling besar lah. Alright, for Westerners for example, they indicate that it is more acceptable for women to express emotion and for men to refrain from expressing those emotion. Perempuan kalau sedih, nangis ke apa ke, meraung, biasalah perempuan. Tapi kalau lelaki sedih, lelaki ketak-ketak macam ni, tiba-tiba nangis kan. Oh, air mata jantan, mahal ni air mata ni. For example, macam tak okay for men to feel like that. Because of the culture and also social expectation that we have already said, it is okay for ladies to feel sad and express their sadness, but then it's not okay for men to have tears on their eyes, for example. Alright, and then because of self-protection, right, being afraid or fearful of what we express could affect others perceive us. Okay, for example, kita akan ada the chilling effect. We call it as the chilling effect. Fear of someone who has more power or rank or authority than we do. So we suppress our feeling. Kita tak puas hati in our working culture. Kita rasa tak fair. Alright, we express. Kita patut bagi tahu bos our idea, but then we have to go through our manager juga. We have to go through our supervisor sebelum kita pergi kepada bos kita. So the supervisor will go to the boss and say that this is the idea. So we know that this is not right. Kita sangat tak puas hati, kita sangat tidak happy. The chilling effect happen, but we in some way we can't do anything because of our power, okay, because of our rank, and we don't have the authority, right, to do that or to feel in that way. Okay. And then because we also want to protect others, okay, fear we could hurt or upset others or cause them to lose face. Alright. For example, kita pergi jalan-jalan rumah makcik kita dengan mak kita. Nina, bila nak kahwin? Kau tu dah 30. Dalam hati kita mesti we feel intimidated. Rasa macam menyebutnya makcik ni, namanya. But then because of our mom's face, we have to jagalah air muka mak kita, jaga their feelings, jaga the feeling of the auntie as well, because this is your mother's sister and something like that. So you will play safe, maybe you can just smile or give a very good kind of tak ada jodoh lagi lah makcik, for example. Alright, because we also want to protect others around us as well. Because of social and professional role, right, our role itself make it inappropriate. Okay, for example, nurse who expresses anger towards patient might be regarded as unprofessional. Kita ni, for example, nurse lah. Nurse, takkanlah dia nak marah. Ada je nurse yang marah patient. Adik saya pun nurse. Dia kan selalu je. Dia marah patient yang degil-degil lah. But then, unprofessional, that will be an unprofessional act. Okay, kita as, contoh lah, tak semua lah, contoh teachers and lecturers, academic lah, those who are involved in academic, buka account TikTok, joget-joget, buat content TikTok and everything. So your role as an academic di situ will be violated, akan tercalar lah sikit kita punya credibility as an academic, because we professionally we shouldn't act like that, for example. So the social and professional role, alright, forbid you from being too expressive, macam tu. And then speaking in generalities, because we do not effectively express our true emotional states, right? For example, kita selalu kata I feel bad, I'm happy. Alright, so does I feel bad mean the person feel depressed ke, angry ke, guilty ke, malu, ashamed ke, anxious ke? And does I'm happy means the speaker or the person saying that is in love ke, happy dapat grade ke, dapat duit ke, dapat gaji ke? So it can be many kind of interpretation. So we are speaking in generalities, right? Not owning our feelings, meaning that we state feelings in a way that is own personal responsibility. Apabila kita express our feeling tu, actually kita put blame on others rather than ourselves. Okay, we use, for example, kita guna I language to revise the statement. Alright, kita to make the statement, for example, you make me angry. When we say you make me angry, as if we are putting all the 100% blame on the person who are making you angry. Instead, kita boleh guna I language, alright, kita can revise this particular expression and we can change it into I feel angry when you don't call when you say you will. Alright, put it alright as you yourself being responsible of your emotion, alright, of how you are feeling. Alright, you know that this is still because of that particular person, tapi you are putting it as if you are also being involved in this particular situation. Alright, meaning that kalau awak tak call saya tak akan rasa macam ni, for example. Dia boleh kata, awak lah ni buat saya marah, awak lah ni tak call saya. So you are disowning your feeling. Rather than doing that, you own your feeling, alright, and you are also not blaming that person, but maybe putting a bit of guilt, alright, towards that person, membuatkan orang itu rasa sedikit bersalah lah, right, dalam perbuatan dia terhadap awak. And then counterfeit emotional language, right, to express emotion but does not especially describe what a person is feeling. So the language that seems to express emotion but does not actually describe what a person is feeling, for example, okay, why can't you leave me alone? Kita try to be expressive, kita nak marah, we were intimidated, we are not happy. Tapi kita cakap apa? Why can't you leave me alone? So if you are being a very good communicator, you will provide clear description of your feeling, alright, and the connection between your feeling and also your behavior or others' behavior. For example, saya rephrase balik, I feel frustrated because when I'm working, you walk in, I lose my train of thought. Saya dah lost track. Alright, so it will be a more constructive statement. Kita straight away cakap why you are feeling like that, what actually happened. So why can't you leave me alone? Kat situ lah baru kita cakap the outcome that we want. Banyak contoh saya ni contoh yang a bit negative lah. But the negative examples are much more clearer to be explained. Okay? Alright, again, like what I've mentioned just now, social media and also emotion, sometimes it is similar to face-to-face communication. We may not express our emotion digitally because we can see that in certain kind of example. Okay, setengah orang ni online, Facebook ke, Instagram ke, TikTok ke, whatsoever, they are very happy, alright? Whatever is being viewed to the viewers show happiness, gratefulness, something like that. But back at home, for example, or behind the screen, they are not actually being that particular person, or they are not actually feeling in that particular way. Everything is just for the sake of content. Right? Social media may help us feel and express our emotion, but then still, alright, if we use it in a very good way, okay, it can also help us feel and also express our emotion. But I would like to rephrase again, in a good way. Maknanya janganlah don't tell people about your, let's say, marital problems or marriage kind of problems, alright, for the sake of getting attention, alright. But maybe you want to inform people for the sake of providing awareness yang let's say marriage violence or keganasan rumah tangga ni, ataupun kita panggil apa, domestic violence ni exist. Ada je husband yang pukul wife, ada je wife yang pukul husband, for example, for the sake of awareness. Alright. Macam ni kita nak tahu ini saja konten ni being expression nak menunjuk, macam ni kita nak tahu which one is for education awareness, which one yang more to just nak kecoh lah orang kata. Alright. Maybe from the way, because sometimes those who want to spread awareness, they didn't tell the names, they didn't actually tell the situation, they even didn't reveal their identity. Whatever is important is just the message of spreading awareness. Okay, social media can become substitute to involvement in face-to-face relationship. Right, nowadays, like what we are having right now, okay, kita are substituting physical interaction with social media and also other form of electronic kind of face-to-face interactive kind of medium. Okay, all right, guidelines for communicating emotion effectively. All right, so number one, you need to identify your emotion, of course, and then you choose, right, how to express your emotion. So you need to be emotionally intelligent. Okay, so you own your feelings. All right, selalu tahu bahawa whatever it is that you are feeling, it is your responsibility, it is you, not because of other person. All right, monitor your self-talk. Self-talk is when you have this kind of small chat within you. All right, your intrapersonal is talking to you. Is this okay? Is it appropriate to say this? Is it appropriate to be expressive like this? Right? Adopt a rational, emotive approach to feelings. Always be rational, all right, when you are trying to express your emotion. Do not put anger, sadness, or everything mix up too much, right, when you are being expressive, right? Because when you are being angry, expressive, then it will be explosive. Respond sensitively when others communicate emotion. So when you are on the other side, okay, the other person is communicating emotionally to you, be a good listener, be a mindful kind of listener. All right, do not always, let's say, cut. All right, cut the way that they are talking. Do not like show that you are not interested. All right, at least pretend that you are interested so that people know that you are being mindful, that you are being there to listen to them. Okay. Right. Right. Another explanation on response sensitively. Sometimes we do not try to solve the problem immediately. Right. We must offer freedom to say what they are feeling and have the feeling accepted. Bila orang mengadu kat kita about their issues, about their problems, right? When we are listening, jangan straight away macam, okay, macam ni lah. Ataupun, okay, this is my solution. Do not cut the conversation first. Give them space to express themselves to you, right? Show that you are willing to discuss emotional topics and accept where they are as a starting place, and always paraphrase. Show that you understand their feeling, right? As you are not only understanding the content, but also the way that they are feeling. Oh, macam tu ke? Oh, I'm so sorry to hear about that. Right, pity you. I know that you are in a very hard situation right now. I wish I could help you or something like that. Okay. And then you know that sometimes you can also apply the rational emotive approach to feelings, whereby in step one, all right, of course, like what previously that I've shown you, okay, almost the same as this one, but for this one, number one, you monitor your emotional reaction. All right, you identify emotion commonalities in event and experience to which you respond emotionally. All right, when you want to respond emotionally, all right, try to find a common ground. All right, with that particular person that you are communicating with. Tune into your self-talk and notice irrational belief and fallacy. Ask yourself, is this the right thing to do? Is this the right thing to express? All right. Is it okay if I am acting in such a way? And then use self-talk to dispute fallacies. Again, tune to your self-talk, all right, to avoid yourself from um, showing things which are irrelevant, things which are, not right or not correct or very wrong to be shared, right, online. Okay. All right, thank you very much. All right, any question on this particular topic? Emotion. Emotion. Before I ask all of you a question. Oh, tu dia. Mana ni kita ada sharing session sikit-sikit je, tak banyak. All of us in here? Okay. Alright, so Mr. Azwan, Anis, Madam Jannah, and Teacher Ann. Alright, I want you to share me an experience. Saya pun boleh share my experience as well. On one particular post or one particular phrase that you posted online. Saya cerita Facebook lah. But because I think our generation is much more familiar with Facebook. Saya Twitter pun saya tak main. I do not know how to be expressively short. Saya tak pandai nak be expressive in one or two words. Alright. So can you share me one particular post or one particular phrase or one particular announcement or anything that you have posted online on your Facebook, for example, previously that you think is quite emotional and you regret saying that thing on your Facebook page? Anyone would like to start? Siapa dulu? Anyone would like to start? Come on. Ladies first or gentlemen first?
Sorry, macam mana?
Alright. Anis mungkin dia generation yang main Twitter. Sebelum ni, when we talk about emotion kan, sebelum ni, ada tak there's this one time when you posted something online yang was very emotionally expressive, But then lepas tu you rasa this is very wrong ataupun you rasa menyesal. So boleh share dengan kita apa, what was the thing that you were sharing, content tu apa, and then what was our emotion at that time dan kenapa kita buat macam tu. Can anybody share that with me? Kan Anis nak share dulu, dah Anis dah tanya tu. Mesti ada je kan?
Memang ada.
Alright. Satu
Mesti
je,
ada.
pilih satu je.
Biasanya kalau yang negatively tu macam termarah ke kan. Tapi saya jarang Facebook lah.
Jarang Facebook. Betul kat mana? Instagram, Twitter.
WhatsApp je biasa. Saya
WhatsApp
bukan.
status. Okay.
WhatsApp status pun.
What did you say? Apa yang Anis cakap masa tu?
Mungkin kalau dari segi macam politik ke ataupun ataupun isu-isu COVID macam ni kan. Kadang-kadang kita konon-konon macam bagi pendapat idea kita lah ni yang okey kan. Tapi lepas dah post tu macam kenapa macam emosi sangat over punya ni kan. Lepas tu respon bila sedar tu macam mungkin kena delete kot.
Did anybody say anything to you? Ada siapa-siapa tegur, bukan tegur lah macam okay ke Anis? Ni siapa Anis? Beritahu lah, ada ke? Ada orang tanya?
Biasa tak ada. Tak ada lah.
Alright, okay. Thank you Anis. Alright. According to sequence, kalau next ni Puan Janah lah. Maybe Puan Janah would like to share. Ada ke?
Tak tahu sebab saya jarang guna Facebook.
Kalau tak Facebook pun mungkin ada platform ke ataupun tertulis dalam diary ke, boleh jadi juga tu.
Apa ya? Tak tahulah, saya nanti tak boleh fikir.
Ke zaman-zaman sekolah tu ada nak marah sangat pergi conteng dekat toilet punya wall ke.
Tak, bagi orang lain dulu.
Bagi orang nak fikir dulu, okey. Kita bagi Cik Azwan, orang lelaki ni banyak benda ni. Cik Azwan, any posting or something that you regretted? You posted that and you regretted as well. Kalau tak nak share yang terlalu malu pun, yang medium malu pun okey lah. Tak nak yang ekstrim sangat pun, yang biasa-biasa pun boleh share. Azwan tengah balik Facebook dia tu, cari ada ke tak tu.
Sir.
Ya Cik Azwan.
News about peperangan Doktor. Apa-apa yang tu saya trigger sikit. Saya penderitaan kanak-kanak, rasa macam ada sedih, ada kesian, ada.
Yang mana yang paling trigger Cik Azwan sekali? What was the situation at that time dan apa yang Cik Azwan tulis masa tu?
Lagi trigger bila isu melibatkan kanak-kanak Doktor. Rasa
if things involving kids ni, saya rasa salah satu event yang agak trigger saya is, if you remember, I think it was last year ke this year, the one in Gombak whereby the babysitter, saya lupa lah macam mana dia buat something ke dia tak, I'm not sure lah whether the baby didera atau tidak, tapi diletak dalam peti tu, ingat tak that one particular case?
That
one kan. And then bila parent dia datang, waktu tu kan, dia cakap dah ada orang ambil kan, and then next day tu siap offer lagi babysitter punya servis. That one kan, I think it's still on trial lah. That one memang kalau bahasa orang mudanya tak boleh belah. Rasanya tak tahulah, tak sangka saya ada orang macam tu. Like nothing happen. The next day nothing happen. Okay, siapa cik babysitter? Fatihah lah to that baby. Thank you Encik Azwan. Alright, okay Teacher Ann. Madam Jannah di hutang lagi tu. Teacher Ann, what about you? Anything that
Yeah.
you posted, that you emotionally posted? What was it and how did you feel about it?
Um, adalah quote, maybe tak adalah once, macam twice or 3 times macam tu lah. Mungkin maybe sebab apa, my post masa tu it's about myself maybe, sebab kita type tu masa the moment kita rasa macam sangat penat, and the issues bila bila drag ke something, benda yang macam mana nak, ya, I would say kita ada isu dekat sekolah, kat tempat kerja, and then we drag that at home. Lepas tu things never settled at home. Jadi macam terluah macam tu kan. And then last sekali like to blame myself. Itulah for what happened. Tapi tak pernah delete lah benda tu. Sekadar luahan sendiri. So nothing.
Kind of like self disappointment lah macam tu.
Yes. Macam tu. Tak relate. Tapi I just notice that I don't know, macam response pun atau macam yang komen pun bila kita something macam tu kan, macam orang pun tak berani nak komen ke. So I just macam okay, after that I just macam just keep it for myself, not to reveal that, tak payah nak masuk dalam tu benda isu macam tu kan. Atau macam yeah, semua, I mean that semua orang the same situation kan. Talking about motherhood ataupun working mom, bila balik rumah, that pressures, that kind of thing. Semua perempuan atau semua ibu pun mengalami benda yang sama yang bekerja. So benda tu macam itulah, sometimes saya nak terluah juga. So I think itu je, just cerita macam that situation or what I felt the moment saat kita rasa macam penat sangat on that day, or mungkin for the whole week, taking charge of everything at schools, and also bila balik rumah pun cover the house chores and everything. That's why kadang-kadang yalah, handling the kids means that benda tu dah bercampur kan, terus terluah.
Cakap kita snap lah at that time.
Yeah. Tapi a few post je lah. Okay. Then I realise macam benda macam ni, better keep it for ourselves, so not to reveal everything kan. So benda tu ialah benda yang temporary. Jadi kita tak perlu timbulkan isu yang besar. Nothing much, we can get over it. I mean that we can get through it. Dah settle. Tak perlu reveal pun sebenarnya. So that's, lepas tu lah change lah my content. Up yang biasa-biasa je.
Tiba-tiba tukar topik
tiba-tiba tukar topik. Tak ada benda nak berlaku lah, saya cerita lah.
Alright. Okay, thank you teacher for sharing. Puan Jannah, back to you. Mesti ada. Mesti ada sikit something.
Sekejap. Ya.
Okay, tak apa. Okay ke?
Sorry.
Tak apa. Okay.
Saya kan nak cakap post dekat social media ni, saya tak sangat lah. Memang jarang saya post something on medsos lah. Okay. So tapi kan nak melibatkan perasaan yang macam bila saya buat benda tu, and saya rasa saya tak patut buat benda tu. Yang saya macam regret lah. Bila macam kita pergi join reunion husband kan. Kita join dia punya reunion, and then kita rasa macam husband tu yelah, dia more to melebihkan kawan daripada kita dengan anak-anak ni kan. Jadi kita rasa macam so
benda tu tiba-tiba kita tertunjuk perasaan kita tu depan husband punya friends kan. Mana dia orang boleh nampak kita punya emosi dekat situ. So bila kita revise balik benda tu, saya macam malu lah benda tu. Kita tak kawal emosi kita depan orang. Sepatutnya benda tu kita simpan je untuk kita punya family lah kan. Kita boleh discuss after that lah. So that one macam benda tu memang saya ingat lah benda tu. Saya macam kenapa saya tunjuk emosi tu depan depan orang lain. So benda tu one of yang memang saya ingat lah benda tu. Saya macam, and after that saya cuba untuk jagalah benda tu bila dengan kawan-kawan suami macam tu lah.
Okay. Bila jumpa kawan-kawan suami yang baik. Bila dalam hati nak kira lagi siap abang. Sama kalau saya pun, kalau saya ada pergi reunion ke apa, saya tak bawa lah buat saya. Same case as well, tapi because I'm from an all boys school, so senang lah, tak adalah jealousy dekat situ kan. Tak ada girls, tak ada budak-budak perempuan, so itu semua yang lelaki je. So buat saya pun okay lah kalau saya pergi sendiri pun, no problem. Alright, if nak tahu experience saya ke, saya share jugalah macam one of the things that I regretted that I posted was in a WhatsApp group actually. Masa tu baru habis master lah, lebih kurang tengah cari kerja something. So I found this ad about UMK, and then my perspective is whatever it is that we had, so we share with all of our friends. And then rezeki masing-masing lah, semua orang apply, siapa dapat lah. Siapa ada kabel ada lah, siapa yang excellent lah. Kalau tak dapat tak ada rezeki lah. But then one of my classmates responded by saying, Kelantan mesti dapat sebab tak ada siapa nak pergi. So I was very triggered at that statement, walaupun saya pun bukannya orang Kelantan kan, saya orang Kedah. But then giving value to a state like that, saying that if you macam mesti dapat punya sebab tak ada siapa nak pergi, as if you are downgrading me lah macam tu, for example. And then I really snap. And I said that I said a few bad things as well. But then I regretted saying that, and I apologized to this girl. Usually orang perempuan lah. I apologize to this girl, but then lepas tu kita pun macam tak baik sangat lah, macam biasa lah. Sampai sekarang macam tu lah. Alright, so that was one of the things or one of the occasion that I regretted saying. So after that, when I found out things that yang bit intimidated, sometimes kita misinterpret situation, our perception. Alright, because sometimes we snap into a certain kind of emotion. Mungkin dia nak bergurau je sebenarnya, ataupun mungkin dia memang got no intention of saying things, but then because of the perception and also emotion at that time, yelah tengah nak cari kerja kan, tengah survey tempat mana nak kerja and everything. So these sorts of feeling mixing around will create perception which can also be misinterpreted. Okay, alright. Okay, any question on today's topic? Emotion, very general actually. Any question on your assignment? Okay guys, assignment? Cik Azwan, Wajarna, Cik Anis. Okay guys, assignment? How do you find the assignment? Hard or interesting, or anak kacang ni ke macam mana? Okay ke? Have you found your partners to do it? Have you found friends to join you in doing it? Anything to ask about the assignment?
Partner ada, cuma skrip tak create lagi.
Apa? Doesn't have to be scripted. It's just very impromptu based on the question that I've already listed. Based on the question, nanti teacher Ansni, I'm not going to say come up with script lah, but more construct the question on the perspective so that your friend or your partner will share with you, alright, about their artifact and also their experience about listening, being mindful in listening. Okay. Alright, so if there's no more question, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for sharing. Alright, we are already in week 8. Alright, so I hope that we can finish up everything by the end of the semester. So I would like to remind you that next week I'm going to give you another assignment, which is a written assignment. Alright, and then I think in week 10 or 11, right, we're going to have our a term paper, kind of like a not midterm test, it's actually an end term test, because we will not be having any final exam this semester. So the marks for final exam is converted into kind of term paper, macam quiz lah juga lebih kurang, but then in form of essay. Alright. Don't worry, I'm going to point to you which chapter that will come out. Alright, and then you will have to study the chapter, tak banyak sangat pun actually. Alright, okay. So I guess that's all for tonight. Okay, thank you very much. Alright, thank you for joining. Thank you for sharing. If you got any more questions, do not hesitate to reach me. Do not hesitate to ask and also discuss in our small WhatsApp group. Alright, only the 6 of us. Okay, so I guess I'll see you again. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum and good night.
Sir.
Yes, Teacher Ann.
Nak tanya, kita punya weekly task kalau tengok dalam e-campus tu,
Okay.
sampai chapter 5, tapi saya tak buat lagi pun.
Yang itu tu.
Yang Mr. Bean tu.
Yes.
Itu last part. Lepas tu yang lepas pada tu apa ya?
Saya tak lepas
yang minggu ni tak ada, yang minggu lepas pun tak ada task
Last sampai yang Mr. Bean tu. Usually when it comes to week 7, maksudnya dah masuk second half of the semester, saya cuba nak kurangkan weekly task lah, sebab I want you to concentrate more on assignment. Week 7 and above ni will be more on doing your assignment. Okay, dan weekly tu sebenarnya cubalah buat. I'm not gonna say I'm forcing you to do. Buatlah, cuba buat untuk let's say get your understanding on the topic. Alright, to be frank, tak ada markah pun for that one, but then it will help you to grasp an understanding of that particular topic that we are doing. Alright, semua yang the recorded one, Mr. Bean one, okay. But then week 7 and above will be mostly concentrating on completing, right, your 3 assignments, alright, which is this is one will be number 1. Right, so 2 more coming in the next week. Okay, now one written one next week and a written test will be on week 11. Okay. All right, so I guess that's all for today. Thank you very much again. Hope to see you again next week. Assalamualaikum and good night, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you. Bye bye.